Hi everybody and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel. These days in side-by-sides, if you just want insane horsepower and performance, you can get it, but those machines can't actually work hard, and that's where this crossover segment comes in. Sitting next to me today is the Yamaha Wolverine RMAX 1000, and it's the latest machine from Yamaha that is meant to both work and play, and you know we're going to put it to the test. Let's start with a walk around on this 2021 RMAX. So let's look at what we have here. The model you are looking at today here in Canada is known as the Wolverine RMAX 1000 SE, although in the States, this model is the XTR Special Edition. And there are a couple small differences between actually the model you get in America and the model we get here, and we'll point those out in a moment. So first of all, you just cannot help but notice new styling, and the RMAX looks angrier than ever. I said this in my walk around video, there seems to be a trend in side-by-sides. If you release a new model, it better look more pissed off than the last model, and this thing looks really angry. I think it looks good. The other thing you notice about it right away is the size. It's bigger than the X2 is. The width here is listed at 64 inches, but the overall width is actually 66 inches. So it's a pretty big machine, and there's a couple inches in width and length and height over the other X2 model. So I mentioned it's the XTR model. That means we get some upgrades here. One of them is right down there. That is a Warn winch. Because it's the XTR, that's coming directly from the factory. Always appreciated to have that. So we can keep on rolling around the sides now. Another thing that's part of the XTR package, which is incredibly important, are the tires. That is a set of 30-inch Maxxis Carnivore tires. Those things are massive. They offer just a ton of grip, and these are also some unique wheels just to pump up the styling a bit. Now, while I'm down here, let me mention the suspension. So there's actually two different suspension setups in this model. There's one which is actually active and can be controlled from inside the cab. We don't have those shocks. We have the Fox Quick Switch 3 shocks, which means that I can reach up in here, flick a switch, and change between 3 different stiffness settings. Now, in terms of travel, we have a lot. Up here in the front, over 14 inches. In the rear, just about 17 inches. So there's no doubt that Yamaha spent a lot of time with this model making sure there was a lot of travel here to make sure it'll eat up the trail. Now we keep on rolling back on this model. We'll get to the interior in a little bit. At the back end, I would be remiss if I didn't right away show you the dump bed. This is why you would buy a Wolverine RMAX. It's because you want a machine that's really fun to drive, but then you can actually work with it as well. This dump bed is very convenient. It lifts nicely. It has a gas assist shock, and then it has some other features too. So there's actually D-rings, 4 rings in each one of the corners, or 1 ring in each corner, I should say, so you can tie stuff down. Another thing I like about this bed, they actually have these plastic cutouts in the side, so you could put some wood in there and create a divider. This is a very smart work bed back here, and you can do quite a few different things with this bed. Now, I put it up. Let me once again tip it down because I have to show you something else I forgot about. The engine. Right down in here, you can see the brand new 999cc parallel twin engine. Of course, that's a huge deal for this RMAX. It's really pumped up the power from the other twin 850, and this model is making about 108 horsepower, so it's really ready to play. You know what, we've got lots more to talk about, but I think that's it for the walk around. So now let's get out there and ride. Like I said right off the top, the Wolverine X2 was always pretty good at the work part of things, but it was the play. It was really in the trail riding that machine, you know, you could really find the limits pretty easily, and that's where this RMAX comes in. So first, let's talk about the power. Now, this 1000cc or 999cc unit, I think you can describe it as immediate. The power is right there when you put your foot into it. Really great low end, and this thing actually has a pretty raucous exhaust note. It sounds fairly aggressive. And that's, you know, a little surprising to me because the 850, the engine you can still get in the Wolverine X2 and X4, that engine was really known for its low-end power, but also how quiet it was and how smooth it was. And those two things, quiet and smooth, you know, those are big things for a work machine, but for a play machine, you kind of sometimes want a wild animal. And the X2 really didn't have any of that DNA, and now we're here in this RMAX and it has a ton. So while sideways, what's the control like? Well, I love the steering here in the RMAX. Yamaha doesn't give you different selectable modes for the power steering. Some brands allow you to, you know, have a heavier wheel or a lighter wheel. Yamaha, the power steering is fixed, and that's okay because they dial it in really well. It's a nice mix of, you know, weight in your hands at low speeds, and then at high speeds, just enough weight that you still have good control, but not too much that it's, you know, really hard in your hands or jerking out of your hands or anything like that. So excellent power steering, and when you're out there absolutely ripping around, you just feel like you're in total control of this machine. Now, I mentioned the power, but what might be more important than just the power are the new drive modes and how they alter power delivery. So first you have sport mode, and as the name kind of suggests, it's all about maximum power right off the bat. So the throttle becomes really touchy. Then you go over into trail mode. This is more for the guy who just wants a comfortable cruise. It makes the throttle a little bit less aggressive. So, you know, you're not really punching it too hard, especially when you're hitting big bumps and whoops. You're not doing any of this kind of thing. It's a little easier, like I said, to keep it smooth. And then you put it into crawl mode, and crawl totally takes away the throttle response. You really have to dig into the pedal to find the power, but that is okay because when you're doing slow speed crawling, you don't want any jerkiness whatsoever. You want it to be totally smooth. And you know what? Right now, let's cut over to the rock pile because I did some rock crawling and you can see how it worked. Okay, everybody, we're here at the rock pile now, and it's actually kind of snowy today. I'm not sure I've done a snowy rock pile before, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. So to make sure we're ready for ultimate crawling, we're going to do a couple things. First of all, we go over into crawl mode. That's going to tailor the throttle response so we can be ultra smooth. Next, we can turn it on, and we can put it over into diff lock. Now, the rear diff here is always locked, but the front end is now locked up, so we're fully locked for maximum traction. Finally, we put her up into low range for that low smooth power. And now let's see how she climbs over the rock pile. That was pretty dang impressive. The thing you really notice is this crawl mode. The throttle response, that was the GoPro dying, everybody. Anyways, the throttle response, when you put it over into crawl, it just makes it ultra smooth. You can, you know, really jam the throttle. It doesn't matter. The machine just nicely creeps along. Now combine that with all of this extra low-end usable power and coming up over obstacles like that at slow speeds is really, really nicely handled by the RMAX. The slow speed stuff in the RMAX was impressive, but I think the high speed stuff was maybe more impressive. So I already told you guys, 14 inches of travel in the front, almost 17 in the rear. And those travel numbers just mean that you can take things at epic speeds, and this machine swallows them up. Now, recently, I did a comparison here on the channel between the Kawasaki KRX and the Honda Talon. And I will tell you that suspension-wise, this machine feels like it's maybe 80% of a KRX. That KRX, I could hit anything we have here on the property with as much throttle as I could give it, and it never bottomed out. It didn't even feel close to bottoming out. This Yamaha, about 3 or 4 times today, I found that limit. Coming down off of a big drop, I got the back end to bottom out, and then in the whoops a couple times, I really hit them hard enough. So this machine, as I kind of mentioned too off the top, it's not about that ultimate maximum performance, but the fact that I could only find the limit a couple times, I mean, that means that this machine is just really dialed in for some serious performance. Now, what about the interior here? Well, first of all, I have to say that I fit really great in here. I stand at about 6'2". This plastic piece on the other X2 always kind of got in my way, but here on the RMAX, because we're a little longer, a little bit wider, I don't really feel nearly as kind of cramped in this machine. Now, unlike those crazy sport machines, the RMAX has a bit more of an upright seating position. Luckily, the seats are nicely bolstered though, and they do hold you in place. So it's not the sportiest, most aggressive seating position, but I'm okay with it. I didn't really have a problem after a couple hours of riding today. Another little thing I really noticed in the interior is attention to detail with all of the latches and touch points. The glove box is a push button style glove box. I do have a console down here in the center. The doors are redesigned. They feel a little bit more substantial now. They actually close a little bit nicer now. And the thing that comes to mind is automotive style or automotive grade. A lot of this stuff feels like it could come right out of a car or truck. And we've kind of gotten used to side-by-sides having sort of a down step in the quality of their materials, but why? Why not make them just as nice as my truck? And that seems to be happening, and I'm really noticing those things here in the RMAX. Now, I did mention off the top that here in Canada, this is the SE, and in the States, it's the XTR. Well, in the United States, you guys get the Yamaha infotainment system. You get a screen right up here in your center stack. Here in Canada, we just get this plastic cutout with this secret storage behind it. Too bad that the Canadian model doesn't include that. I'm not exactly sure why. But yes, there are some small differences between this model and the XTR sold in the States. And one other little automotive style point, the lighting in here. You actually have lighting at your feet and lighting down in your cubby. So when you get in this thing when it's dark, you're actually going to be able to see what you're doing.
So we just want to show you this gas can. We had a note from a company, Scepter. And Scepter builds every kind of gas can there is. This particular one, they call it the Smart Control. And the first time I saw it, I thought, yeah, I get this. So it has a little lock button here, and then when you push this whole block forward, it opens a valve inside here. So you're already thinking, I know what this is all about, and that's what I said when I saw it. I got in touch, they sent us one. Here it is. We got to fuel this Yamaha, and normally when you tip one of these gas cans right about here, this is where it starts to spill. Everybody's done this. This thing, nothing. You've got the second handle, you can put it inside nicely, boom, now she's fueling. All just like that. It's nice. I love this. And then you let go of it, stops the flow. So you're going to stop spilling gas all over your shoes, all over the machine. Unfortunately, these are only available in the States for right now. Apparently the Canadian government doesn't think we're smart enough to know how to use these. But I can tell you that we do. Something to look at.
A huge part of the package that I have to talk about are these tires. These Maxxis Carnivores, they come on a couple different units across the industry now, and they're just absolute monsters. First of all, 30 inches in diameter just means that basically you'll have no issue on approach angle whatsoever. You're going to be able to get onto whatever you point this thing at. And then the grip here is just epic. You saw it on the rock pile. That was a snowy rock pile. And then, of course, we ran up the hydro line, and there was more water up there than ever. But these Carnivores just absolutely gripped, no questions asked. And you guys know we went and jumped it. So you can see it here. First of all, this thing flew incredibly flat. I think that's mostly because of the wheelbase, but then also must just be the balance. Some machines that I jump up there, they have a tendency to really get the back end up in the air. This thing was dead level, really, really nice. And then second, with the new power here, right as I approached that jump, I was able to really nail the gas, and you just feel that instant acceleration. So if you are looking to jump with an RMAX, you can do it. And then on the landing, I won't say pillow soft, but it was pretty nice. I definitely did not get beat up in here. So what does it all cost? Well, here in Canada, this SE model will sell for $27,000, whereas in the United States, this XTR will go for just about 22 grand.
Well, folks, we're coming to the end of this one. So what's the summary on this RMAX? Well, I think that the Wolverine X2, the non-RMAX model, it has always been able to work hard, but the play factor wasn't quite there, and that is no longer the case. This RMAX absolutely plays just as hard as it works. It's a blast out there on the trail, and it still offers you a dump bed, which means that utility is still top of mind. So everybody, like I said, that's it for this one. I want to know what you think of this brand new Yamaha RMAX. Go in the comments, let us know. While you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit that join button, become a member of the Truck King YouTube channel, and hey, did you like this toque I'm wearing? Well, these are now for sale, so scroll down and you can buy one for yourself. Christmas is coming. So like I said, that's it for this one. Make sure you come right back here to the channel to see what we are testing next. See ya.